Welcome to Kieu Dung's channel. If this is your first time visiting, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share with your friends. Today, we invite you to join the heartfelt journey of a single mother, Sung Luyen, and her little daughter, Kieu Dung. Together, they will climb the mountain to dig wild yams to sell. And along the way, Sung Luyen will revisit the place where Jane once lived. Stay tuned and follow their touching story with us. In the early morning, while darkness still lingered and roosters crowed in the distance, the village remained fast asleep. Yet inside Sung Luyen's humble little home, a flickering candle glowed warmly against the night. Beside it, she quietly lit the fire, the crackle of dry wood rising into the cool dawn air. The gentle smoke curled upward as she carefully prepared a simple breakfast for herself and her daughter, a warm beginning to the long journey that awaited them. As the morning slowly broke, the thick mist lingered over the high mountain peaks, wrapping the forest in a mysterious, almost sacred stillness. Golden rays of sunlight began to pierce through the clouds, slipping between the branches and dancing across the damp grass, still glistening with dew. With their bamboo baskets strapped firmly on their backs, Sung Luyen and little Kieu Dung took their first steps onto the winding trail that led up the mountain. Their goal was simple, yet so meaningful: to dig for wild yams, hoping that by selling them, they could afford the basic needs of their daily life. The road, however, was far from smooth. Heavy storms from days before had shaken the land, and massive tree trunks now lay across the narrow trail. Every few steps, mother and daughter were forced to climb over or carefully find their way around the obstacles. Though the journey was tiring, their faces showed determination, not defeat. These fallen trees became more than just physical barriers. They were reminders of life itself. Sometimes storms knock us down and block our path forward. But like Sung Luyen and her daughter, we must keep pressing on, because every hardship is only temporary, and every challenge is a chance to grow stronger. After walking for quite some time, their eyes caught sight of something unusual on the muddy ground. A small crab, washed down from higher ground by the rain, crawled slowly across the trail. With quick, gentle hands, Sung Luyen caught it, smiling at her daughter with a spark of joy in her eyes. For them, that tiny crab was not just food, it was a gift, a blessing in the middle of a difficult journey. Life often teaches us this. Even in seasons of struggle, God provides little signs of His care, enough to remind us that we are not alone. They continued to climb, step after step, higher into the hills. The path grew steeper, and the weight of the bamboo baskets pressed heavily against their backs. Eventually, they paused to catch their breath, setting their loads gently on the ground. As they looked around, they noticed a tall papaya tree nearby, its branches bent low with ripe golden fruit. Sung Luyen approached the tree, reached up, and carefully picked a few papayas. Their sweet aroma filled the cool morning air as she broke one open and shared it with her daughter. Sitting together under the shade, mother and child savored the juicy fruit. It was a moment of peace, of gratitude. For them, this simple meal felt like a feast. And in that moment, a deeper lesson revealed itself. True happiness is not found in having much, but in cherishing what we are given. Gratitude transforms the ordinary into abundance. Like Sung Luyen and her daughter, when we pause to appreciate the blessings, big or small, that God places along our path, our hearts are filled with joy and strength to keep moving forward. At last, as they reached the steep slope of the mountain, their eyes fell upon a large tree with strong roots spreading across the ground. Beneath its shade, they discovered a wild yam plant. Without hesitation, Sung Luyen took her hoe and began to carefully loosen the soil. With each strike of the hoe, the earth slowly gave way, and little by little, the hidden yams began to appear. Her daughter watched with eager eyes as the mother unearthed the precious roots, brushing off the dirt and separating them one by one. Each yam was placed gently into their bamboo baskets, a treasure for the day's hard work. When they had gathered enough, Sung Luyen quietly filled the hole back with soil, leaving the ground as it was before. In that simple act, there was wisdom. Take only what is needed and always give back to the earth. It is a reminder that when we live with respect for creation, we not only find what we need for today, but we also preserve blessings for tomorrow. After finishing their harvest, Sung Luyen and her daughter made their way back with their bamboo baskets full of wild yams. Joy shone on their faces, for to them this was already more than enough for the day. Walking hand in hand along the steep winding path, they moved gently through the forest, accompanied by the songs of birds and the cool mountain breeze. From time to time, when they grew too tired, they sat down by the roadside, leaning against a large rock or the trunk of an old tree. During these moments of rest, Sung Luyen lovingly taught her young daughter about life, the importance of hard work, the need to be grateful for every blessing, and above all, to always keep a heart that is honest and true. Her words were simple, yet they carried great weight, like seeds being planted into the tender heart of Lil Kieu Dung, seeds that would grow and guide her in the years to come. And what about you? On your own life's journey, have you ever paused to reflect on the lessons passed down from your parents? If it were you, what values would you want to teach your children so they may grow up strong, thankful, and wise? At last, after a long and difficult road, Sung Luyen and her daughter finally arrived at the small market at the foot of the mountain. They set down their heavy bamboo baskets filled with wild yams. Sweat still glistened on their foreheads, but their eyes shone with hope. It didn't take long before many women from the market gathered around, eager to buy the fresh wild yams. In just a short while, everything was sold out. Joy lit up their faces, knowing that the hard work of carrying those yams from the mountains had now become a source of provision for their family. Wild yams, when cooked into a warm soup, are not only delicious, but also bring comfort to the family table. In the same way, the struggles and sweat we pour out today will one day turn into sweet rewards tomorrow. And what about you? In your own life, have you ever walked a hard path only to discover joy waiting at the end of the journey? Are you willing to believe that with perseverance and faith, God will always provide what you need at the right time? After the market closed, Sung Luyen and her daughter gathered their belongings and returned to their beloved little home at the edge of the village. Once back, they washed their hands and feet, still sticky with yam sap and covered in mud. Though their bodies were tired, their hearts were filled with joy. On the way home, Sung Luyen didn't forget to stop by a small stall to buy some bread and a few sweet candies for her daughter. It was a small but loving reward after a long day of hard work. The little girl sat happily, eating her bread with a bright smile on her face. In that moment, every hardship her mother had endured felt completely worth it. Life, in its simplicity, often holds the greatest happiness. True joy does not come from having plenty, but from love and sharing. This reminds us all, as long as we have family by our side and learn to cherish the little things, even in the midst of struggles, our hearts can remain full. That afternoon, after returning from the market, Sung Luyen asked her neighbor to watch over her little daughter for a while. Before leaving, she looked at her child for a long moment, gently stroking her hair and whispering a few careful instructions. In her eyes, there was both determination and a quiet longing. She had decided to walk the long road back to the place where Jane once lived, a place filled with sweet memories, but also a place that carried silent pain in her heart. The path leading up to the old house was winding, covered with dry leaves. Each step she took made a soft rustling sound, as if the earth itself was reminding her of the past. Her footsteps were slow, sometimes hesitant, as though she feared what awaited her. In her mind, James' image appeared so vividly. His gentle smile, his warm gaze, the days they worked together, planting, building, and dreaming of a small but hopeful home. When she finally arrived, she saw the little thatched house they once called home. But now it was quiet, desolate, almost lifeless. There was no laughter, no warmth of light inside, only old wooden walls covered in moss and silence. Her heart tightened painfully. Tears welled up, and she could no longer hold them back. She sat down and wept bitterly. Stepping inside, she saw the old belongings still in their places, the wooden bowl on the table, a shirt hanging in the corner, and the faint scent of aged wood. They seemed to pull her back in time. Her trembling hands touched each item as if to feel the presence of the one she had lost. She remembered the nights when she and Jane sat together at this very table, eating a simple meal by the light of an oil lamp, yet their laughter filled the room with joy. Outside, the rope swing was still hanging under the big tree. It swayed slightly in the evening breeze, as though calling his name. Memories came flooding back of sitting there together, talking about dreams and the future. Nearby, the vegetable garden they once tended had grown wild and overgrown, yet it still whispered stories of love and care from days gone by. She lingered there for a long time, letting her tears flow freely. Yet, in the midst of her sorrow, another thought rose within her. Her little daughter, still waiting for her at home. The child who needed her care, her love, her presence. That thought pierced through the darkness in her heart like a ray of light. She took a deep breath, wiped away her tears, and whispered to herself, "No matter how painful the past may be, I must move forward, for my daughter, for the future." And here lies a lesson for all of us. Life may take away what is most precious, but if we dare to look forward, we can find the strength to rise again. Sometimes the anchor that keeps us standing is not what we have lost, but what we still have. The loved ones who wait for us, who give us a reason to keep going. Treasure the present, because it is the most valuable gift we have been given. And if this story has touched your heart, please don't forget to like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel so we can continue this journey together.